This video will serve as a setup guide for using the new radar client, CRC. When you first open CRC, you'll be greeted with the CRC Profiles window. There are three selections: to create a new profile, import profiles that you may receive from someone else, and manage your installed ARTCCs. To get started, we need to install the ZOA ARTCC maps. Click here, scroll down, and select the Oakland ARTCC. Depending on your internet speeds, this may take a moment. From here, we can click on New Profile to create a new profile, or click Import Profile. A window will pop up where you can select a CRC profile that you've received from somebody else. For now, let's select New Profile. For all STARS capable facilities, which are most towers, it is a good idea to create a STARS profile to get started. Click New Profile, select the appropriate facility, in this case, SFO, and for our display type, select STARS. We'll see the other ones later on in this tutorial. For our initial area, we'll select San Francisco Tower. For different facilities, you may have more selections. For example, if we go back and select NorCal, we may be able to select multiple areas. Let's go back to San Francisco Airport though. For the initial position, you'll be able to select the position you want to sign on as. We'll select San Francisco Local Control SFO West. Finally, it's time to give your profile a name. This can be any name that you want. For our purposes, we'll use San Francisco ATCT SFO. Now hit Create Profile. From here, the main CRC window will pop up. To resize your window, you'll hit Control and Enter. You'll notice that the edges of the window will move in a little bit. This will give you a little bit of space to scroll the window left and right or up and down. You can also double-click the top toolbar to maximize the entire window. When you're done, hit Control Enter again. If you want to get rid of the taskbar at the top, you can simply hit Control B. Now, let's show a few of the settings that are available in the drop-down menu. The biggest one is the Help menu, which we can get to by selecting Help or hitting Control H at any time. This will show you a lot of different things that you can use within your session, including connecting, as well as changing any settings that may be available to you. Now, let's go ahead and set up a San Francisco Tower profile for the first time. First, we're going to go into General Settings. You can do this by hitting Control G. Next, you'll enter your user ID and password. You can then select Remember My User ID and Password so you don't have to type it in every time. From there are a multitude of different settings that you can change as you wish. Two of the biggest ones in particular are the tab key closing the message area and choosing an aircraft select key, which is helpful for when you're dealing with text pilots and you need to send them a message. Finally, we can close this window and continue on. Next thing we're going to do is configure our display settings. Each CRC profile has two types of displays, either windows or tabs. Within a given window, you can have multiple tabs. Every single tab will also have its own display settings, and we'll see this when we create a new tab in just a moment. For now, we're going to configure our STARS display settings. You see here that you can change things like showing the winds, enabling top-down mode so you can see aircraft on the ground, or disable pan zoom with your mouse. Now we've configured it, let's go ahead and close. Note that we also have a message window and a controllers window, similar to some of the older clients we've had. You can close these by either selecting from the drop-down menu or for the message window, hitting Tab. Next, it's going to be helpful to actually set up our video maps so we can actually see San Francisco. If you notice at the top, we can select SFO West or RSFO East, depending on the configuration that we're currently in. For our purposes, let's go back to SFO West because it will be the most helpful for now. If you click Maps, you'll be able to select from a larger variety of maps that you may use at different times during your controlling session. Note that your cursor is stuck in this section until you hit the Done button. Please make sure to hit the Done button. Next, we can configure the brightness of our display by hitting Bright. The DCB button, for instance, will control the brightness of the top toolbar. The different video maps can be controlled by the next set MPA and MPB, depending on what video maps you might have up. There are some other maps that you can change the brightness of, and this can be seen in the documentation for CRC if you're interested. Leaders, or LDR, in the top toolbar, contains the aircraft's information. The direction and leader number tells the CRC window which direction you'd like the leader to go in and how long you'd like it to be. This is completely up to you to decide what you'd like it to be based on preference. Range rings, which show distance, can be configured by hitting RR and using your scroll wheel to increase or decrease the number. We can change character sizes by hitting char size, and this allows you to change the different text values that you see on screen, depending on if you have higher or lower performance or more resolution on your screen. When you're done setting up all of this configuration, including getting your window into just the right spot, it'll be important to save your preferences. To do this, we simply hit the Pref button, click Save As, and then give it a name. As long as it's less than 7 characters, it can be whatever you want it to be. We'll name ours 2V-W. You'll notice now it is in the 1 section at the top of this toolbar. If you ever want to recall this exact map and its configuration, simply select 2V-W from the preferences. Now that we've set up our stars display, let's go on and talk a little bit about how we can create new tabs. To figure out how we can do this, we can either select the drop-down menu in the top left, or by clicking the Help, we notice it's Control-Alt-N as a shortcut. This will pull up the Add Display Tab button. Let's go ahead and create an ASDEX for San Francisco Airport. We'll select ASDEX, SFO, and hit Enter. A new tab will now pop up, displaying the ASDEX for San Francisco. This will give us a great view of San Francisco Airport on the ground, as well as any data on corresponding aircraft. The buttons at the top allow you to make configuration changes, including things like the range, as well as day or night mode. Typically with the ASDEX, we don't change a significant amount of settings, so the default ones will get you by pretty well. To go back to our stars window, we could either click the tab in the top left, or with the shortcut Control-Tab. This allows us to get back to our stars window relatively quickly, and we'll notice that there's another way we can do this as well with bookmarks a little bit later. After configuring your ASDEX settings as you see fit, we can leave this alone, or we can change the display settings in a similar fashion to how we changed the stars display settings. You'll notice that there are a bit less things to change here. Now, Let's move on to another tab. Sometimes airports will not have an ASDEX available, or you may want to see a more realistic depiction of the airport. To do this, we can create a new display mode with Tower Cab and selecting San Francisco. You'll notice a new tab, and here you'll be presented with a realistic depiction of San Francisco Airport. Most airports at ZOA will have an overlay on top of this image, which will show the important elements such as runways and taxiways. This will bring it out from the background and make it easier to see. Not much is configurable here compared to, say, the Stars menu. However, you can pull up these settings in a similar fashion through the drop-down menu at the top left or with Control-D. Once again, you can adjust the data block font sizes, the status text font sizes, which is the bar at the top, showing the full METAR for San Francisco, which can also be achieved by clicking the winds at the top, or adjusting the background image brightness to make it less prominent. For those of you that may have lower performing graphics, you can unselect Use High Resolution Image to make it a little bit easier on your computer. We can also change the colors at the bottom to whatever you need. Depending on the visibility at the airport, it may change how far out you can see. As it becomes harder to see, the ring that you see of clouds here will get closer to the airport. Note that the maximum for this ring will usually be 10 miles, regardless of visibility at San Francisco, due to performance. This is also a tab that is also helpful to see what's going on the ground, similar to the ASDEX. Just like before, we can revert to our previous tabs by clicking on them, or by pressing Control-Tab. Now, we're finally ready to get connected to the network. To connect, we can either select from the drop-down menu, or using our help window again, we notice that the shortcut is Control F12. You can select an area, the position, what role you would like to play, either as a controller, student, instructor, or an observer, your rating, as well as what you'd like to connect to. This is where you'll connect to the live network, or for training sessions, you will connect to Sweatbox. You'll notice that the words in the middle of the screen will now disappear, and you should be presented with planes if they are online. Pressing Control-L, we can pull up the controller list again to see that we have successfully connected. You'll notice that we are showing up as a blue text in the tower window, and other controllers are showing up with white text. Note that a new difference in CRC is that we have to activate our session. To do this, we can either select it from the drop-down menu in the top left again, or by pressing Control-Shift-F12. This will activate our session and prepare us for our controlling. Note, on the Stars display, you can press Control-F8 to remove the DCB toolbar at the top, similar to how you can click the button in the ASDEX to remove the DCB at the top. Now, let's take a minute to talk about what are known as bookmarks. Bookmarks will allow us to get to places faster than having to click and drag through multiple tabs. In previous instances of controlling clients, you were only limited to 10 different bookmarks. With CRC, we can now have up to 100 bookmarks. There are two different ways to do bookmarks. Let's take a moment to go over the first way to do that. In order to set a bookmark, we can press Control, Alt, and a number 1 through 9 and the number 0. This will set the bookmark, and if you have your chat or messages window open, it will let you know that the bookmark has been set. To return to where your bookmark was, you can press Control and the number that you previously pressed. This will return you to your previous location. Note that if you have global bookmarks selected, which is selected by default, the bookmark will remember the window you were in when you set the bookmark. So for instance, if I had created a separate window, not a tab, for my ASDEX, and I set the bookmark in that separate window, with global bookmarks enabled, recalling that bookmark would take effect regardless of which window I had selected. Note, bookmarks are shared across all tabs within a window, regardless of the global bookmarks setting. For those of you that do not want global bookmarks, simply go to the drop-down menu in the top left and uncheck Use Global Bookmarks. This will disable global bookmarks across windows and make bookmarks unique within each window. Note, this means that if you are in another window, you will not recall the bookmark in the original window where you had set it. Now, let's talk about another way to set bookmarks. By pressing the period key, a number 0 through 99, and the period key again, this will set a bookmark with the corresponding number. Here in the ASDEX tab, for instance, you'll notice we're pressing period 15 period. This is set bookmark 15. In the Tower Cab tab, we can now use that to recall the bookmark we had set. To recall a bookmark like this, we simply type period, the number that we had previously entered, and hit enter. This will recall that numbered bookmark. As another example, in the ASDEX tab, if we press period and 0, the previous number we had selected in the Stars tab, it will return us to the Stars tab, where we set bookmark 0. Bookmarks are a very helpful tool, as they let us get to places a lot faster than simply clicking on a tab and then trying to navigate to where we need to go. As an example, here at San Francisco, we might use bookmarks to easily go from a Stars display of the entire airport to an ASDEX display of the entire airport to a Tower Cab view of the entire airport. After we've finished all of this, it's important that we save our profile. This way we can recall it later. We do this by selecting it from the drop-down menu or pressing Ctrl S and saying yes to the prompt. If you try to create or delete a window, you will be prompted to save your profile. Note, it is recommended that you save, but it is ultimately up to your own discretion. With that, we have now created our San Francisco Tower initial profile. At this point, it would be a good idea to review the CRC documentation to prepare yourself for some of the more advanced features that you might find during your controller sessions. Thank you for listening, and we hope that you have a wonderful time using our new Radar client. If you have any questions, please let us know.